really like being here tonight talking about perhaps one of my favorite topics, although there are so many other issues up in the legislature right now that we could be discussing. Fortunately, the committee will be having those discussions in the next few months. I see so many heroes in the audience. I'm not going to mention you all of the legislators are my heroes certainly, and Mo Baxley, who has worked on this issue of equality for gays and lesbians for the past couple of decades. I do have to mention Martha, who we really should have there right now. Perhaps we'll be able to have you soon again. Part of my assignment today is to talk about how we got here from there. I'm going to describe a little bit about what I think we need to do in the next 24 hours, the next several weeks, and perhaps the next year, but I know that Mo Baxley is going to go into much greater detail. The organization she heads has done some tremendous work in getting us not only from there to here, but making sure that we stay here in the coming many years. Of course, we got here because of the work of so many thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people throughout the years. We can go back to the Stonewall riots back in 1969. I remember at that time going to the bars in Boston, which was a dangerous thing to do when the police were indeed harassing people who were gay and lesbian. When we look back to those days, we have to appreciate how far we have come. And in fact, New Hampshire has been on the leading edge of much of the equality throughout the country and throughout the world. In many parts of this world, some parts of this world, you can still be hanged because you happen to be gay or lesbian. At least in the United States, we have gotten beyond that, and in a few states, we have even gotten to the point that we have equality for gays and lesbians, about 22. Still, in most of the country, one can still be fired or denied services just for being gay. So much more work needs to be done, certainly by Congress, by President Obama, and by us in New Hampshire. A few states have marriage equality: Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, Iowa, New Hampshire. Even some other states recognize our marriages. Those include New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Rhode Island. You can actually have your marriage from New Hampshire recognized in those states. But of course, so much still needs to be done. Several other states do have some domestic partnerships and civil unions, and several countries actually recognize marriage, and Canada is one of those. How we got here, from here, is the work of many people in New Hampshire and elsewhere, and in New Hampshire, in the House and Senate. We had an excellent Speaker of the House, Terry Norelli, who happened to be chairing the meetings in the House when the issue of issues of both civil unions and marriage equality came up for discussion. It's because of her and the legislators here and so many others in the House and Senate, mostly Democrats, but also some Republicans. This is not a partisan issue. We did not win this just with Democrats, and we certainly won't keep it just with Democrats. But we were able to pass both civil unions in 2007 and marriage equality in 2009 because of so many people. I will mention that there's a fact, though, and that is we almost didn't get here. Because I came within 24 hours of not putting in the bill. There were a lot of people who suggested, let's wait at least until 2011 before we talk about marriage equality. And there was some validity to that. And I do apologize for those, perhaps a couple of dozen legislators, House members, good ones, maybe a couple of state senators, who were probably defeated last November because of their courage in supporting House Bill 436, the marriage equality bill. I do think, however, that in retrospect, they're going to look back, and if they don't already, and realize that their one vote, or several votes, because we had several in both the House and Senate in favor of House Bill 436, is the best thing they ever did. In fact, I bumped into in the State House about 3 weeks ago one of the House members, a wonderful woman who had had served 2 terms and was not reelected. She had voted for both civil unions and for marriage equality. And she said that she thought that she probably lost because of marriage equality, her vote on that. She lost by about 50 votes. But she says that she and her kids say that it was the best thing that she had ever done, and she's probably going to be able to come back anyway in her district, because it was a Democratic district, and there were probably other reasons to have lost too. I will say that those 24 hours before I put in the legislation, my mind was changed. I was hesitant to do it because I was having trouble finding co-sponsors. Paul McCacker, one of the co-sponsors, told me the night before, and he would have been here, but he's on the West Coast visiting his daughter. There's a big difference between she's an attorney. That we should go ahead and try it. And I think that was good advice. And a couple of people, close friends of mine, also gave me the pep talk that we needed to make sure we did it. A couple of friends of mine are here tonight, Mark Connolly and Mike O'Keefe, who needed to be there at the right time to push this. But there were so many other people behind the scenes who gave us advice that we should go ahead and try for marriage equality in 2009. And guess what? We did it. The votes in the House were close. One of them, the first one, was 183 to 182. We lost that one. But because Terry was chairing the meeting and we had a little recess, we were able to change that around and have another vote about 30 minutes later, 186 to 179. From there, it eventually went to the Senate, and despite some bumps here and there, it passed the Senate, and Governor John Lynch did what a good governor should do. He listened to people on all sides of this issue, hearing from literally thousands of people, and he decided he was going to sign the bill. And in June in 2009, he signed it with a smile to a lot of applause. Where do we go from here? We have to protect marriage equality. At least we're in defense instead of trying to do it now. And I think that is something that is going to let us make sure we win. The numbers are not with us in the House right now. The public hearings are tomorrow that Noel will get into. But there are 298 House members who happen to be Republicans, 102 Democrats, but not as all lost. Because I think that there are a number of libertarian-minded Republicans. I've spent my time the past 7 weeks talking with a number of them. I communicated through email and phone calls with a number of them today. I think that we're going to have at least 4 dozen, maybe more. If it does pass the House, and if it passes the Senate, well, I think we're going to see a pledged veto by Governor John Lynch, and we might be able to sustain the governor's veto. But that's where each of us in this room comes into play. Personal contact, not just going tomorrow, if you can do it, that's important, but personal contact in the next several weeks, months, is vital. There are websites, the state's website you can reach by going to newhampshire.gov, and you can find all the information you need to write letters to Republicans as well as Democrats. Don't forget the Democrats, because they need to know that they've got support behind them. Plus, there are letters to the editor we can write. There's so many other things that we can do, but that personal contact, talking with groups, talking with individuals, is going to mean that we will be able to retain marriage equality. And this is why it's important. Because those people, those kids, being gay, questioning one's sexual identity, is the second leading cause of suicide in this country. Those kids will know that New Hampshire continues to recognize and respect who they are for who they are. And that's so important in making sure that not only do we have marriage equality, but we save lives. Thank you, and it would be nice.